What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. It's me, Giselle, and today we're going to talk about the 5 things that you guys must know, you need to know before working in a hospital setting and wanting to work in that hospital job. These are some things that you guys really need to know so that it doesn't come as a surprise to you. And if you're going into medical, you already know that you're going to deal with a ton of different types of patients. So today is a video that you guys are really going to want to hear about so that you know what to expect when you go and start working in a hospital. With all that being said, let's get started. First things first, you guys will interact with all different types of patients on this spectrum. You can go from a patient that just can walk in and are talking completely fine and just have one little thing bothering them, or you can have a patient that has so much going on that absolutely needs a ton of help, or even up to patients who are intubated, ventilated, and on life support. So the spectrum is really wide. You can have patients who are happy to be here and just to figure out what's going on. And you can have patients who are angry and mad, upset, and don't want to be here at all. You have patients who aren't able to cope with whatever's happening. So you have to be able to understand and have empathy and be able to talk to these patients. And you will have patients who are just okay and let you scan anything, let you do anything, and are just really cool, awesome patients. And they just talk to you and tell you all about their life. You may get patients who can't speak English at all, who speak a whole nother different language, so you'll need to get a translator. You may get patients who are coughing, vomiting, spitting up blood, in a lot of pain, can't breathe, won't let you touch them. You're going to get patients who need security with them. Very difficult patients. So just know you're going to have a whole bunch of different types of patients. Some of your patients in the ICU are going to be ventilated, so they won't even be able to move. Sometimes you're going to have to push really hard on a patient who has a lot of large body habitus. So there's a ton of different situations. There's also a situation where the patient can't move their legs and you have to try to get to their veins in their legs. And you're also going to have to do some exams where the patient is uncomfortable and won't even let you touch it or get to that area. So lots of critical thinking on your feet, and talking to doctors and nurses and trying to figure out what you can do to do the best exam for these patients and to also take care of them. Some patients are going to have a lot going on and some probably won't have much going on. So definitely just be prepared to have critical thinking and to remember that you are working in a setting where lots of people are coming here because there is something going on. Usually they don't come here if there's nothing going on. A lot of times they'll just go to an outpatient facility and get checked there if it's nothing that emergent. But whenever people come to the hospital, it's because they feel like whatever is happening is on an emergent basis. Be prepared for all different types of patients and be prepared to handle a ton of different situations. The second thing you guys need to know about working in a hospital is that you're going to be working with a ton of other people. Not only are you going to be working with your ultrasound technologist, you're also going to be working with some nurses, doctors, other techs like EKG, respiratory therapists, physical therapists, nurses. Did I say nurses already? Because really you talk to a lot of nurses. Registration, transporters, lab, other techs like CAT scan, MRI, nuclear medicine, X-ray. You're going to be involved with a ton of other things and meet a lot of people in the hospital. You're not working alone technically. You're going to have other people there, but at the same time, it's your job to scan the patient yourself, operate the machine on your own, and if you need help, you will always be able to get help from a nurse to help you with a patient, to help you turn a patient, move a patient, lift a patient. You can ask your other fellow X-ray techs, CT techs if they are available. So just know that you are going to have other people around in the hospital because the hospital is open 24 hours. Everyone is there to help each other. You have to figure out a flow because these patients will have X-ray exams ordered as well. They can also have some CAT scans ordered. And so if they are ordered, say you have a patient first, You can ask CAT scan if they want to take that patient from you afterwards. Or say X-ray has a patient that you need. You can ask X-ray, hey X-ray, when you guys are done with this patient, can you send them over my way? So you're going to be communicating with a lot of different people. You're going to need to make sure that your patients had their labs done from the nurses over in the ER, that they've been triaged. You're going to talk to plenty of people. So don't be afraid to communicate with others and to work with others, because you will be talking to lots of people in the hospital. The third thing you guys must know is that your workflow depends on the hospital itself. What that means is you need to learn how to handle time management and figure out what exams should be done quickly, what exams should be done at this time, what procedures need to be done, especially because you need to have the radiologist ready for those procedures. You have to figure out, are there going to be ER stats? Are there going to be routines that were rescheduled from the night before? Do you need to do abdomens in the morning because they are NPO after midnight? Are there stats upstairs? Do you need to do a procedure that's stat? Do you need to do a procedure right now because the procedure is ready and the radiologist is ready? You will learn as you go time management and figure out what should come first and what has highest priority. One day you may have 30 exams on your schedule and 2 procedures. The next day you may have 8 procedures and 10 exams on your schedule. So the days in the hospital all vary. It depends on how many people are coming in, how fast you guys are, how many techs and machines you guys have in your department. So really it just depends on the place that you're working at. You also don't know when you're going to get your lunch, because your patients may need to all be done at this point in time, and then finally you get to go to lunch at this point in time. I found myself going to lunch really early after 3 or 4 hours, and then sometimes I found myself going to lunch maybe like 6 hours into my shift. You'll definitely learn your workflow, because sometimes you'll have to go portable and do patients upstairs, and sometimes you'll have to just do a bunch of patients in the ER. The days are never boring in the hospital, and you always have a ton of different types of exams. Some procedures may take 30 minutes to an hour, and some patients may take 30 minutes on exam because it was that difficult. But at the end of the day, you should be able to do at least 12 to 15 patients in your shift. If it's a 10-hour to 12-hour shift, you should do at least 2 to 3 patients an hour, especially if they're pretty easy patients and pretty easy exams. Now, you're going to have those days where there's totally difficult exams, or patients who are in the ICU, ventilated, or are just giving you a hard time, and maybe you walk out of there doing 8, 9, 10 exams. That's okay too. You don't want to kill yourself trying to get as many exams as you can as fast as you can. You want to make sure that you're doing quality work and doing them in the correct order with time management. If something was ordered yesterday, you want to do your best to get it done as soon as possible, because then you are holding that patient from going home or potentially getting their diagnosis quicker. It's all about practice and learning and watching what all your other techs are doing. Don't forget to ask questions, but definitely know that the workflow depends on your hospital and how many people are working at your hospital and what your shifts are like. I've worked at a hospital where there was only 2 people on the shift, and I've worked at a hospital where there's 5 people on a shift. Just know that the workflow depends on the hospital. Every hospital and every place is different, but you will be very busy for the most part. Remember how I said you never really know when you're going to take your lunch? Well, just took my lunch, and it was about 9 hours through my shift. So I started today at 6 p.m. and I didn't go to lunch till around 3 o'clock-ish. So for the fourth thing you guys need to know about working in a hospital is that there are going to be graveyard shifts, or there are going to be on-call shifts. So these are the types of shifts that are at night, which are usually after 10:30 p.m., which is when your last technologist is going to leave. So it could be 10 p.m., 11 p.m., just depends on your hospital. So it's going to start at that time, from that time to the morning time when your first tech in the morning comes. So maybe 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m., sometimes even 8 a.m. So your on-call shift is going to be between a certain time, and what's going to happen is you only come to the hospital when they order a stat exam. So whenever they order a stat exam, which is usually in the ER, sometimes they can have stat exams upstairs in the rooms. Usually they'll call you in, they'll say, hey, I have a stat abdominal exam, or hey, I have a stat pelvic exam, stat venous exam, and they will let you know to come in to do the exam. Now, at different hospitals, the pay is different. You can get paid per hour for this, plus also paid per exam. You can get paid per exam only. You can get paid for drive time. It all depends on the company and where you work for. Back in the day when I used to take call, because the hospital I currently work at does not do call anymore, we actually have graveyard shifts. I used to sleep in my car, and I would sleep in my car until they called me to go inside, and I would just walk right in and go scan and then go back to my car. Sometimes I would sleep inside the room. You can clean it up, prepare it for you, sleep there in the bed. It just depends. You can even just go home if you live nearby. But a lot of the times you don't live nearby, so you're either stuck staying up all night long and doing something else, or hanging out, or doing something while you're waiting for them to call you, or you try to sleep and get your beauty sleep and just hope they don't call you. I have some trauma when, my phone would ring in the middle of the night. I would be like, and I would know that they're calling me to go in and do an ultrasound. So that ringtone that I used to have when I was on call, I stopped using that ringtone because every time I heard it, I thought I would have to go into work. So I changed my ringtone. But pretty much call shifts, they can be really difficult, especially if you have family, kids, people at home. You might wake them up because you're getting up to go to work, or it just might be a hassle on your body.
Yeah.
Or it just might be a hassle on your body. Your sleep schedule's all messed up. And the same thing goes for graveyard shift. Sometimes you can get used to it. A lot of times people get used to it. Me, on the other hand, I get really tired because I don't do graveyard shifts all the time. But you just do your best to stay awake, stay up, keep doing stuff, keep busy, walk around, stock things, clean things. Just do your best to stay awake. So just know, in a hospital, we are open 24/7, and there will always be a need for somebody to be on the shift, on a graveyard shift, or on an on-call shift. There are tons of horror stories of on-call shifts. I bet you if you YouTube them, you'll see some funny memes about it, because doing the on-call shifts can be very tough and very difficult. I'll just say that I'm very happy that I don't have to pull call shifts anymore, because I'd rather do a graveyard shift, stay at the hospital, work all night long. I'd rather do that than be called in every so often. But there are some people who really enjoy call shifts. There are some people who do only on-call shifts. So it just depends on you and what you prefer. But if you do work at a hospital, you better know that there is going to be a graveyard shift or an on-call shift. All right, you guys, that was day 12 out of 12 and graveyard shift. So yeah, like I said earlier, you're gonna have graveyard shifts, you're going to have call shifts, and that was a 12-hour shift, and I did 16 patients. Now I had 30 minutes of a lunch break. I probably had about an hour altogether of just writing up paperwork. So really, I did about 16 exams in about 10.5 hours or so. It just goes to show, if you have a normal day where people just say, okay, let's do it, sure, scan me, kind of thing, you can get a lot of exams in. Now, for the fifth and final thing that you guys must know and need to know before you work in a hospital or even think about going to the hospital, you need to know that it is hard. Yes, I said it. It is hard. It's going to be very hard. You will have good days. You will have chill days. You will have days where your schedule is short. You will have days where your schedule is really long. Last night, our schedule got up to 40, and our list has gotten up to 50 at times. You just have to realize that the hospital is busy. And I used to work at places where there were only 2 techs, and so it was extremely busy. You're just popping those exams in and out. With that being said, the hospital field and environment is just hard in general. You're going to deal with difficult patients. You're going to deal with patients with all different types of problems, things that are going on from the abdomen to your neck, your brain, your arms, your legs, your whole entire body, people who are pregnant. Yes, we'll scan babies, we'll scan kiddos, we'll scan for appendicitis, we'll scan for intussusception. So there's a lot of different things that you'll see in a hospital. Not only is the exam load potentially harder than it is at other places, patients may be in difficult situations like ventilated patients, intubated patients, and whatnot. Those may be difficult for some people to handle, but you're also gonna feel burnout sometime sooner or later. You're gonna feel tired. You're gonna feel like you did so much work. You're gonna feel like you've done so much, and sometimes you feel like you're not getting acknowledgement for it. Sometimes you just will feel like drained, like you're working so hard, you're working so much. So there will be times where you feel like you want to step back from how fast and how much you're scanning. Hello, person. You will feel the burnout sometimes. You will feel like you need a vacation, and that just happens with any job. It's not just the hospital, it's literally any job. You will also feel a lot of pain, musculoskeletal injuries. You're going to be dealing with a lot of different types of patients. You're going to have to scan really large patients. You're going to have to scan patients in weird positions. I have scanned 400-pound patients just sitting up in a chair or up in their bed because they can't lay down. They can't breathe when they lay down. Or sometimes I have to stick my arm all the way up a groin because I have to go up to the groin area to see that common femoral vein. There are just things that you're gonna need to do that may potentially hurt your body. You may twist it at a certain position. Your hips may hurt at one point from the way you're standing, your feet, your legs, your calves, your ankles, literally any part of your body, especially your wrist and your right arm. For you echo-techs, your left arm. So please just be aware of the way that you scan and you stand and sit and use proper ergonomics. Other than that, there's always going to be workplace drama no matter where you work, no matter what field. You may come across people who don't seem friendly. You will come across people who are friendly, but there are always going to be negative people in the world. With any job, and especially if you're going to be new to a job, you may need some time to get used to the flow and to the people, and you need to just prove to them that you are a hard worker and that you're there to do your job. Hospital is not easy. There's tons of things that you're gonna deal with. Sometimes doctors order the wrong exams and you're gonna have to figure out what exam it is that they ordered. Sometimes patients don't want you to touch them or they don't want you to scan them. And you just have to figure it out. Use your critical thinking and use what you think is best for that patient and for yourself too. You wanna keep yourself safe. At the end of the day, hospitals have its pros and cons, but you need to know these 5 things before you go and decide to work at a hospital. No matter what, always do your best and know that you got into this field for a reason. You're going to help people. And this job is very challenging, but it's definitely rewarding at the end of the day because you do get a lot of pros coming out of this job. The pay is great. A lot of patients are thankful for you. You really are helping people and helping save lives. We're all about prevention, taking care of others, and being there for our patients. With all of that being said, it is a very long day. Hello, people going to work. I'm about to go home, take a nap, and today's my only day off because we're going to do it again next week. I have a whole week of work, 7 days straight. I'm going to go get a massage later on today because you deserve those massages. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to like it, push that thumbs up button because it helps the channel and it helps the algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel because our family is growing and I'm so excited to have you guys all here. And if you are new, we do have an ultrasound community Discord that I have created. So go ahead and DM me on Instagram at HTxlolgeselle or email me at HTxlolgeselle@gmail.com so we can get you into that Discord so you can join a bunch of other like-minded ultrasound students and technologists. All right, guys, time for me to go home. It's gonna take me about 20-25 minutes to get home. It is 6:50 and it's nap time. All right, you guys, have a beautiful day. Be kind to one another, stay safe, stay positive, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.